It's September 15th, 2019, and we want to know, has it finally come to light that Superboy's name Con is actually short for Connor McCloud?
Does the Justice League have what it takes to go up and at them?
All this and more is coming up. It's episode 348, starting now.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the all-new Extra Extreme DCR Now Turbo Edition, the 348th episode to be exact. Of course, the only show that gives you no guarantees. After the 2017 crash of the pod exchange, who knew?
Yeah.
Podcast not a safe retirement investment. And of course, the horrible, the tragic, I would say,
Yeah.
rabid bear mauling that Kelly took while we were recording last week. I am sorry about that, but
You promised, Sean.
I know it seems probability is not on our side, so I'm making no guarantees. But I do guarantee one thing. I am not alone, because I am joined, as always, by the Emperor Punmeister, the what did you get ranked up to? Extreme
Arch Count.
Arch Count.
Arch Count.
Arch Count of puns, Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hey, Sean.
How's it going? How is 2019 treating you so far?
It's 2019.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What can you do? I mean, it's crazy around here. Well, ever since the clones and the cyborg people were given citizenship, I feel like we're getting a little too much forced integration into comics recently.
Yeah.
I remember, even when we started like 5-6 years ago, not as many clones running around in comics.
No, not at all.
It was such a rarity. Such a rarity. But let's get the usual spiel out of the way. We are a spoiler cast. We're going to go over all of the books that came out from DC Comics in their new 52 line. Amazing that they still call it such this far into the future.
Well, rebranding is just so hard, Sean.
It really is. It really is.
It's so costly. I mean, you do it once, you got to give it at least, 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10? Well, we should be coming up here.
I know.
So we'll see what they call it
I
afterwards.
think it's called The End, Sean.
Oh, man. You're tricky like that. But as such, if you do not want your book spoiled, do not listen to this particular episode. I would feel really bad if people from 2014 would hear this episode and just have all their books spoiled for the next 5 years. It'd be horrible. Horrible.
I know.
Before we get into books, though, Brian, it's been a good couple years for movies for DC.
I know.
They're finally getting their footing. I think it's
After Zack Snyder fell in that pit, everything really turned around. We were so worried about the sinkholes when they started, and then one finally got Zack Snyder, and we were so much happier for it.
Why are you still so salty about that? I thought
I'm just very happy about that sinkhole. That's all.
Fair enough. But it has not just been movies. As we know, DC has made a systematic takeover of television now with basically a television show on every single network. Even if you have the extended package, there are now 286 DC shows on television. Remember when there was just 2 or 3?
I know. Even ABC has a couple. That really surprised me.
No, it's just weird. Of course, Arrow is entering its 8th season. Flash going into its 5th. They were talking about doing it where it would be really quick seasons, just every episode being a season, but luckily that fell through because I don't think anyone could keep up with that.
Yeah.
It would have been really crazy. Titans.
We're not connected to the Speed Force.
Titans on TNT.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who'd have thought?
I know. Even back in the day when that was first announced, Jeremy Eloy asked and said, does that mean Trigon owns TNT now?
He might.
He might. We're going to find out.
Yeah.
And of course, this...
Plastic Man and Blue and Gold on Comedy Central.
Of course.
Very
That's
fun.
where they need to be.
Yeah.
But I think they have taken it a step too far.
Okay.
With this season. Of course, Animal Planet just signed on the pilot for Bwana Beasts Too Cute, of course spelled TWO. Have you seen the premise for this show, Brian?
Well, yes, he combines two super adorable animals together
into one too cute animal. I think that's a bridge too far. I understand mass appeal and all, but I don't know if that one's going to stick around for too long.
As long as he doesn't start wearing pants, I'll be happy.
Want some pants? So what do you say we stop our jibber jabbering? Normally we do questions, but I'm just going to pass over because we are covering a lot of books this week and jump into some comics.
All right, Sean, we're starting off with our flashback.
Yeah, it's
issue.
the throwback edition.
Throwback! Keeping it old school. Hey, Sean, do you
Yeah.
remember that time in the long, long ago when Forever Evil got delayed and it was such a mess that its repercussions extended all the way into the next event?
Vaguely. I vaguely recall this.
Well, it was in Justice League 33.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the Justice League has kind of arrived on the scene of the big Jessica Cruz Power Ring first appearance catastrophe.
Okay, I remember
where
this.
The Power Ring was trying to set a fire that the whole multiverse could see.
Was she flicking her bick? Flick your bick.
This is a family-friendly podcast, Sean.
No, bick. Bick.
Oh, okay. My goodness indeed. So, the new Doom Patrol has shown up first, and their leader, Niles Calder, wanted the Power Ring for himself. Lex Luthor has also shown up and wants the ring for himself so he can save the world, because he's on his I've got to save the world kick right now.
I missed that Lex Luthor. He was one of my favorites.
He was a lot of fun. Niles Calder and Lex Luthor, they have a mind battle as they try to stop Jessica. Lex tries to scramble her neuro senses with electricity so she'll be unconscious. She can't use the ring anymore. He can just go, whoop, take the ring off.
That makes sense.
Whereas Niles says that the ring runs on fear, which is tied into the parts of the brain that would still be functioning even if she was passed out.
So wait, they both give like a lecture on how the brain works while all this destruction is happening?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
fair. Do they have a whiteboard?
They do have a whiteboard. You do not actually see any of the action, but there's a few sound effects, so you know what's happening behind them.
You just hear the screaming death of innocence while they're like, well, I completely disagree, sir.
Shazam sticks his head in and says, hey guys, look at me real quick, and then he goes away. And so Niles Calder says the only way that they would be able to get this ring off is for him to conduct back alley brain surgery on her right here, right now, in the middle of this giant catastrophe.
Well, that's a logical decision.
That's just science.
That is science, but that's the first step I would go to.
Yes.
Just back alley brain surgery. It would fix most problems.
So while they argue, Batman wanders into the fray and says, hey, Jessica, stop being afraid. She's all, you're Batman?
You kind of built your whole iconic thing off of fear and inciting fear, and you're standing here graveling your voice at me?
And he's like, well, only criminals should be afraid of me. You're a victim.
And he's like, boo!
Yep. Stop living this thug life and start living this hug life. And then he hugs her, and she passes out, and they get the ring off, and the ring goes inert. So she's under the League's protection now, and the Doom Patrol goes back to work for Argus. We didn't know that they worked for Argus at the time.
No, we didn't.
No.
I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I figured it was just Niles Calder being creepy mad scientist off by himself because he was so, we're separate, we're not part of all this, we're all.
Oh, but wait, we're actually a part of this.
Yeah, we're actually a major part of the government here.
Yes. Back at the Watchtower satellite, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman decide that while Lex Luthor is trying to play hero, the best way to keep an eye on him is to keep him close, so they finally let him into the Justice.
Hey! He got his Dakota ring?
Yes.
Yes! Is he going to drink more Ovaltine?
Yes, he is.
Excellent. Then
Me to it.
So what'd you think? Did you like this one, or?
I mean, it was...
You seemed a little salty there at the beginning with the Forever Evil delays causing it to...
I feel as though we should have been past it by that point.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. It's just,
like it's like if it was like a big shocking surprise that he was suddenly in the Justice League, that was one thing, but we saw him in like 50 other books as part of the Justice League before this happened, so you know.
Okay, I do remember that vaguely, him showing up quite a bit as a Justice League member and hanging out on the Watchtower in everyone else's book, and they're like, "Hey, Lex Luthor, you've been here all the time. I am not shocked at this whatsoever."
Yeah.
Well, I am going to go. I know this is going to be a surprise. Do you remember this book back in its early days? I think we're on issue 280 now. Batman Eternal.
Yeah.
Like 22 and 23. I think I'm going to cover those as my flashback. It's so long since we've been here. I've been covering this book for so many years.
That 3-month Mad Hatter story was really stretching it at a certain point.
Well, if we recall, Brian, your favorite character, Hush. And I don't want you to make any comments because I remember when this story came out, I received so many messages that did not agree with your assessment of this character.
Yeah.
So many that did not agree with your assessment. And I have to read it for myself to make up my own mind. I never got around to it. It's been so many years, I still haven't gotten around to it.
Because I refused to buy it for you.
Hush had shown up at Wayne Manor and injected fear toxin into the brain of Alfred. And of course, his daughter at the time, Julia, was there as well, and she ends up taking him to the hospital, tries to give Batman a call to, well, Bruce Wayne in this case, because she didn't know, and say, hey, your butler's in the hospital, some creepy guy in bandage face injected him with a bunch of stuff, and
Batman's like, oh,
Hush. And as she is standing there, she can't get a hold of him, she leaves a bat voicemail, and
bat voicemail?
Well, it has to be branded as such.
I see.
If you want Bruce Wayne, press 1. If you want Batman, press 2. We just share
How did
a
Lex
voicemail
Luthor figure it out?
So she ends up tracing the steps because, of course, Alfred had told her about the clock and the time, and she just goes, I wonder, and turns it on, and then it slides open, and she goes, a bat cave! Oh, that's what he was getting at all that time about having a higher calling and actually doing more than just butlering. Now it makes sense. Alfred was Batman. But she go down there, and she's working on all the thing. On the Bat computer, just kind of like, ooh, this is kind of cool. Let me find what I can find out. Meanwhile, Batman, did you ever get around? You borrowed this book from me 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Did you ever read the Batman Gates of Gotham?
It is still sitting on my nightstand, waiting to be read.
God, man. He is fighting the Architect, who has shown up at the Beacon Tower, one of the new projects that Wayne Enterprises was building, and he is rewiring it. He's taken the lead architect hostage, and he's changing all these things about it. And Batman shows up. There's all these hostages there, and he ends up calling back for Alfred to say, hey, I need schematics. And of course, it's Julia that answers like, oh, hey, Batman, how's it going? I just found my way in here. Oh, by the way, Alfred's in the hospital, you jerk face. You might as well go over there and visit him. And he's like, I can't. There's hostages. I need to save them first. Alfred would want me to do that. And I need your help, though. Pull up the schematics of this building so I can save all the hostages. And they work together and do so. Eventually, he makes his way up, gets the lead architect to safety, and starts punch-em-ups with the architect. And then that's when
How badly does he cut his hands on all those gears?
Not that bad.
Okay.
Not that bad, actually. Surprisingly. Unfortunately, though, as soon as
He learned all that stuff from Alice Tesla, I forgot.
Exactly. As soon as the lead architect gets away, that's when Hush steps up and shoots him in the head and just goes, shh, because he's Hush.
Yes.
And Batman using
lowered voice.
Batman using
Batman
all of
talks
the
like this.
using all
That's
of the
how you
clues.
can tell them apart.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
But using all of the clues and everything.
Also the
that's
mummy
going on.
bandages. Also the mummy.
You have no intent of letting me finish this one. He puts together all the clues and figures out that it is in fact Hush that broke in, and he's like, Hush! As he restrains the architect. And that's the end of issue 22. Him coming to the realization that Hush seems to be behind the scenes working all these machinations by himself. Now in 23, we go off on a little bit of a tangent in the next issue because Catwoman has infiltrated an animal fighting ring that has stolen all of the rare animals from Tiger Shark. You remember Tiger Shark, right?
He was the shark that was also a tiger?
He's the guy that is the champion of conservation who makes everything out of the most rare, endangered animal he could possibly find. And
he was the guy who stuck an orca on the Iceberg Lounge, right?
That's correct. He's the one that airlifted orcas in just because he read up on it and went, well, orcas don't like penguins. Mm-hmm. But as Catwoman is trying to save this little Siberian tiger cub that's fighting dogs, it's very sad, actually. That's when Tiger Shark shows up and he has his, what is it? A baby seal mask and his Siberian tiger jacket and it's just all rare animals. And he's like, oh, you tried to steal my rare animals. Now you will pay.
Your Komodo dragon.
I love that movie. I love The Graduate. So anyway, Catwoman gets this baby Siberian cub to safety, but it gets shot during the melee, and she takes it home and tries to save it, but it ends up dying from the gunshot. Sad panda. But Jade, do you remember the little girl?
Was there an actual panda there?
No.
You're dropping your game, Tiger Shark.
But as soon as she's like mourning the loss of this cub, that's when Jade, the little girl that was working with Killer Croc, you remember her? She was being held hostage by the 10-eyed man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and ended up being saved, and Batman took her to a home. Well, she escaped, and she just works in the underground. She shows up at Catwoman's house and goes, hey, just wanted to let you know he wants to see you again. He sent me out to lead you on back, so come on through. And they reverse Shawshank Redemption their way through the sewers. They even make a mention of crawling through 300 yards of crap. Mm-hmm. And they get up into Blackgate Prison. And the man that has sent Jade to get her is, of course, Rex Calabrese, the lion. And we all know now that that is also Catwoman's biological father. Mm-hmm. And she is not pleased to see him. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. You're using little kids as messengers in the underground. That's jacked up, dude. You're a messed up man. And he's like, no, listen, there's a lot of people that are about to die. What
are you going to do next? Start stealing their teeth?
Yeah. There's a lot of people about to die with this whole gang war thing that's about to erupt. There is no leadership. There is only one way to fix that. You, by birthright, have the ability to claim the role of crime boss of Gotham. You're my daughter. Get out there, claim the role of crime boss, and just try to get some order out there so people don't get killed in the confusion. She doesn't really seem too keen on that plan, and she kind of tells her dad to piss off and says, I'll go my own path, and leaves. Now, meanwhile, Batman continues his scuffle against the Architect. Scuffle. Oh no, my hand is caught in your gear there. Let me get that out. And as they're fighting, he's trying to figure out what this Architect did to this tower.
Why are there two tiny mice fighting on your costume right now?
Yeah. But he's trying to figure out what all the wiring changes were for, and that's when he figures out he turned it into a giant tuning fork, essentially. And it goes interacting
You're
with
a regular Michael Winslow.
Thank you, I know. It interacts with the fault lines below Gotham City, causing a massive earthquake to rip through Gotham City, leveling it. And goes, no, as half of Gotham is torn apart by this massive earthquake. Now, in the office of Mayor Haiti, who is literally standing at the window going, this is going to be bad for my re-election.
Mayor Haiti, he's going to take my thunder one more time.
Why can I not get a break in this stupid town? That is when Lieutenant Bard comes in and goes, Mayor, it's bad out there. I am now the commissioner. You have placed me as such, and I have to advise you, you need to declare martial law in Gotham City. Dun, dun, dun. This city is like a no man's land now. I mean, it's torn apart. So what do you think about that, Brian?
Why can't it just go into marital law? Then Catwoman can finally, then Catwoman can finally hook up with Batman and live happily ever after.
I was actually surprised about this. Now, I had made mention before with some other books that it seemed like the Superman Doom storyline that was going on around the same time frame, that it seemed like they were fitting in all of the major past stories so that they had it in the books. There, we can reference it now. There, it's there. It happened.
The earthquake that happened in Gotham.
Yeah,
here's that time that Superboy showed up at Star Wars in a leather jacket and Dwayne Wade shades.
Yeah, here's that time that it was, oh, look, it's Superman versus Darkseid, or not Darkseid, but Mongol and all the other supervillains that he was fighting at the time. It really seems like they're just kind of tossing them out like, there, you got your nod, it's out there now, you can acknowledge it, that story could technically kind of take place as you remember it. Of course, the details will be different, but at least there is an assurance that, yes, these storylines still kind of happened in some form.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool idea myself. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to No Man's Land Eternal, if it goes the way, because I liked Arkham City, of course, the game, which was basically No Man's Land, the video game, where there was the whole, let's take a section of Arkham and give the different subsections of the city are taken over by criminals. I'm assuming that's the direction we'll probably inch our way towards here with this, with martial law as well. And I quite enjoyed it. I gotta say, I remembered it being pretty good, but going back and reading it again, fairly decent.
It's a shame the Quakemaster never got to have his due.
Quakemaster, he could have joined the Masters of Disaster.
He could have.
I miss that guy. But I did have one more that I did want to cover in the flashback segment, and that was Superman Unchained number 8, because it is the titanic struggle. Eventually, I think we're going to get Superman Unchained number 9. I know it's been on delay for a little bit, but it should be coming out soon.
All those trade sales are losing.
They guaranteed by the end of 2019, we should have the 9th issue out, and it'll wrap up at that point. But in Superman Unchained number 8, this is the titanic struggle between Superman and Wraith. Of course, that alien that has Superman powers. Wraith. Wrath was the Batman. Wraith
analog.
is the Superman.
Wraith is the Superman analog. Okay.
You with me?
Maybe?
Gotcha. Okay, so this is an epic struggle. This is a slobber knocker in every sense of the term, because we have punches through mountains, we have people wielding cargo ships as clubs and just clubbing people over the head. Brian, we even have punches through the moon. It's been so many years and the moon cannot get a break.
Cannot.
Yeah, they literally punch themselves from one side of the moon and drive themselves through and out the backside of the moon.
Dot the I in chairface.
Dot the I in chairface. I don't like you anymore.
Okay.
It's been too many years, man. Too many. But while this is going on, nothing can stop Wraith. He's a juggernaut. He's got all these electromagnetic powers, it seems, that he's able to manipulate into making himself give off kryptonite type, I don't know, radiation of some sort, whatever.
A kryptonite effect, almost?
Yeah, almost.
Okay.
Almost. But they're all doing it, and that's when Superman finally goes, aha! I have an idea. I'm going to tunnel down to the center of the earth. I'm assuming he's going after Dr. Veritas.
Veritas.
She should have the answer for him. But he tunnels his way down to the center of the earth. Wraith follows, and the two keep on fighting. But what's this? Wraith, his superpowers aren't working anymore. And Superman has like this little, ha. That's because we're near the core, and the electromagnetic field of the core of the earth should be interfering with your superpowers. Look at me, so smart. I've been hanging out with Veritas for a long time. So they just beat each other up until finally Superman punches him down into the lava and then just leaves him there and goes, I showed you, Wraith, and flies away.
Our Superman.
Yep. I'm
Many
assuming it's because
ready.
he can't fly because his powers are out, so he's just stuck down in the center of the earth with the Firstborn and Dr. Veritas and the, what were your dinosaur people that you wanted?
Oh my goodness, it's been so long. Oh man. Oh well.
Something Terra, I don't know, whatever.
The Dinosaur.
The Dinosaurs. There you go. All of them are going to have a party at the center of the earth there. Now, Superman flies off back to the Fortress of Solitude that, remember, got destroyed by General Lane and his forces, and Lois Lane is still there with the Earthstone, that weird little rock that seems to control all electronics. And they show up, and a bedraggled Jimmy Olsen is also just trudging through the Arctic, and they're like, well, that's weird to run across you here, Jimmy Olsen. He goes, well, Lex Luthor did it. He kidnapped me, he messed with my little signal watch thing and dumped me out here. I'm assuming to find you. And that's when his signal watch goes boop, 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 boop. And out comes a holographic image of Lex Luthor going, hey, buddy, long time no see. You know what this is all about, right? This is an alien invasion. You figured it out by now, right? And he goes, yeah, I figured it out. He's like, well, check out the radar. All these alien ships are out at the sun. Whoever built this whole Earthstone thing and sent Wraith, apparently you have a whole army of Wraiths on their way to kick your butt and take over this planet. What are we going to do about it? I don't know. What are you going to do about it? Well, I, Lex Luthor, made a plan already. Inside that signal watch right there, I actually, real side tangent here, I kind of like the idea that the premise is that these aliens send down this representative with a, in this case, the equation that we built all of our technology off of. It's made it so that we discovered superconductors and everything like that. And then basically the invading army has an off switch for all of our tech at that time. They just come in and go, boo, and turn it all off and take over. Kind of a pretty cool idea, I thought.
Yeah.
So, but what Lex Luthor has done is he has synthesized this super ultra mega refined sunlight UV ray thing. And he goes, Superman, if you inject yourself with that, it'll basically turn you into a super ultra mega atom bomb, just like WRAITH was. And you can just fly out there and detonate yourself and destroy their entire fleet. You'll, of course, die. That's what we in the Luthor clan call a win-win for me, though. So, your call, buddy. And that's where it ends with Superman trying to figure out what he will do as this fleet marches on Earth. Pretty good ideas. Love the ideas in it.
Would have been nice if it came out.
Yeah, as I said before, if this really had like that boom, 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 it has the build up. So you're like going, wow, it's building higher, building higher, building higher, building higher. But with the 2-3 month gaps, it's just like, or 5 years in this case.
Mm-hmm. The fact that they have yet to even reference anything that happened in there except for the maw pretty much tells us that, everything works out fine.
Who knows? Maybe Superman actually did blow up. Remember all those clones? Clones everywhere.
Yeah.
Not a clone to drink.
Nope.
So let's leave the past behind and move into the present.
Coming in the present.
The present's end.
The present's end.
Yes.
Okay. They're still calling it future's end, but you know.
Yeah, I know, but I like present's end better.
Yes. So future's end, number 18, Constantine. He has met up with farming Zack Snyder Clark Kent in Africa, who is trying to pull him out of retirement because an ancient evil has returned, and it sent its avatar of destruction to stop him because he's scared of Superman.
Did Superman bless the plains, though? Down in Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He did.
Thank goodness.
That he did. Actually, we'll get into that later.
Oh, did I steal one of your later jokes?
Possibly. So, Superman says no. Ask the guy in the mask that's pretending to be Superman. I'm just going to stay here and work on my farming. I got a really nice corn crop coming up. I hear they're going to turn to fuel eventually, one of these days.
This is Superman's Farmville. He actually has like a farm that he just goes and clicks on things.
Tap, tap, tap. That's what all those were explosions were. They weren't irrigation ditches coming up. That was Superman tapping with his superpower.
Man, I lost another pig. God damn it.
I want my friends help me with this. I've been
Wonder Woman, come farm.
Keep asking you on Q Book. So, Constantine says, what if I told you the evil I've been dancing around naming is named Brainiac?
Oh, bombshell.
He arches his eyebrow and goes, I'm listening. Meanwhile, at Masked Superman, Lois Lane and us, we just found out that Billy Batson is posing as Superman.
Yes.
Shazam. So when they get attacked by Rampage again,
oh
my gosh, just throwing her off a couple blocks didn't stop her. This person named Rampage, who would have thought?
I could have swore when we just left her laying there last issue, everything was fine.
Yeah. So then, and Billy Batson's still Billy Batson because he thought frying her with the Shazam lightning would do it. Didn't work. So when suddenly, luckily, Stormguard shows up to help take out Rampage, and he just looks at Lois Lane and goes, you saw nothing?
Nothing?
You saw nothing? And then he goes and drags Billy Batson slowly away.
Just throws his little American flag cape over him like, woo.
Yeah.
Pulling the curtain.
Checking in with Emiko and Barda and the enigmatic Mr. Diggle.
Emiko!
Yeah! They are on their way to an undisclosed island in the middle of the ocean.
Man, what is up with green arrows and islands?
Well, it's not CADMUS. It is, in fact, the island where Oliver Queen became Green Arrow.
Oh.
The Oliver knew that the Global Protection Agency was up to something, and he got too close.
Ooh.
And now he knows that there's going to be a secret war, and he needed a secret army. Then they go into a clearing, see a big arrow-shaped home base.
Do they use secret weapons?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a secret army. Of course it's secret weapons.
Are all their orders secrets? Like they don't tell each other their orders? It's a
That's
secret.
what you need the decoder. That's what you need the decoder ring for.
Oh, gotcha.
So they go into the clearing. They see a big arrow-shaped home base, and who should be there but their generals, Red Arrow and Oliver Queen.
What?
Dun 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 dun. Breach. Back at CADMUS Island, the other island going on in the future's end, Earth 2 Lana Lang and Deathstroke are on the run from Omax, and the spider robot implanted Earth 2 superheroes. Meanwhile, in the middle of all the carnage, 50 Sue is bargaining with Brother Eye since his tech doesn't work on her, because she's also the first of something?
See, here's the thing. There's a lot of rumors on who this character is. One of them, there was a character in Action Comics. This is obviously just all conjecture at this point. Yeah. We don't know. There was a character in Action Comics, the Morrison run, called Susie Tompkins, who was a Neo-Sapien, much like Captain Comet.
One of the people thing that they were selling at Christmas a few years ago.
No, not that.
Not that. Okay.
It was not the raging toy of Christmas a few years ago. This was the people that are the next step in evolution that were born like 100,000 years before they were supposed to.
Okay.
So they're kind of like, whoops, showed up early to the party. My bad. So she had similar powers where she could just make things happen in that, and being the name Susie Tompkins, 50 Sue. Very probable that's the case, but not necessarily who it is. It could also be Darkseid's daughter. It could be many other things. They even make a reference in one of the books. Who are you, Darkseid's daughter or something? Blah, blah, blah. So it's still a mystery, but that is one of the things that it could be.
I see.
But before you do go on, I'm sorry. Brother Eye, Brainiac. Are they
one and the same? Are they running
two
right
separate
at the same
games?
time?
Yeah, I know. It's very. That is a huge question mark for me when it comes to this storyline right now. Are they working together? It would make sense if they worked together. Yeah. It would make sense if Brainiac subjugated Brother Eye even. It's just I don't know exactly which direction they're going with it yet.
Yeah.
So I was curious which way you thought, but apparently you don't know either.
I don't know either. I mean, I almost wonder, just based on how everything was in the Zero issue of this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Brother Eye might be the biggest big bad of it all. But we will see.
Playing possum. Oh, Brainiac, you're so brainy and acky.
Eyes are more important than brains. Maybe there's a bunch of different other body part based super intelligences, and they're going to all work together to form this one big gigantic Voltron style super intelligence.
That'll be
Brother Eyes. I'll form the eyes. I'll form the brain.
I'm the left leg. I'm the best left leg there is.
Yes.
Okay, Robin, be calm.
Yep. And we are going to see, there's about to be a heist of terrific tech with Batman Beyond, Plastique, and Key and Coil. But more importantly, also coming out this week, the Green Arrow issue tie-in of Future's End.
Oh, you're just going to segue into that one right now?
I'm going to segue into this because it fits in so seamlessly. It's a flashback to Seattle just before the Future's End event started. Green Arrow, Emiko Queen, and her sidekick Naomi Singh, the Dart. Still miss the original Red Dart.
Yes, but I kind of like the fact that she would become the Dart. That does seem like a good character to be friends with Green Arrow. Just like, look at our pointless weapons choices.
Yeah. I brained someone in the back of a head with a wrench once. Now I'm a superhero. Woo!
I stole her dartly powers.
And they're taking out some Count Vertigo lackeys when they run into a badly injured Oliver Queen. Guys, I stumbled onto something big. Emiko, here's a green green pyramid and some other stuff I need you to give to Lois Lane.
She'll figure it out easily.
Make some vague references to a past that me and Lois Lane had together. We'll get to it later, okay?
That is a weird hint, too. When I was reading that issue, I was like, are you trying to tell me that there was something between Oliver Queen and Lois Lane? Because that's kind of odd.
He's a very public figure.
Oliver Queen.
Public figures love their smart aleck reporters.
Green Arrow really wanted into the Justice League. He was trying to find every angle possible to get in there.
Yep. So then he goes and takes Emiko to Prague, where he meets up with Shadow and the Outsiders. And he joins up with them as
another good band name.
Mm-hmm. And he, sorry.
No, it's just every week we do this, there's inevitably some sentence that we put together that I'm like, man, that's a good band name.
Yep. So he joins up with them as the head of the Arrow clan, but they need to leave Emiko alone, let her go off and be Green Arrow by herself. They have to plan their war on CADMUS, but first he needs Magus to do something for him. So Oliver Queen goes on TV, starts loudly calling out Terrific Tech, saying, "Hey, Terrific Tech, you're a bunch of butts! Come look at me, I'm Oliver Queen!" Which leads Deathstroke being called in to kill him. So he snaps Oliver's neck, leaves Queen Industries burning. That's what we saw at the beginning of the Future End story.
Why do I have to relive this horrible thing?
But it was Magus all along, faking his death as he's done countless times before.
It even says that too. He's like, "Yeah, I've done this trick once or twice, but why change the classics?"
Yeah. Can't argue with him. It's comics. Things don't really change.
Magus seems to be, isn't he like, he seems to come across like this immortal guy that knows all and is like a trickster and does all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's just getting tired of pretending to be a dead queen because he did it for Oliver Queen's dad, he did it for Oliver Queen multiple times now? He's just like, guys, you only call me when you need to fake your death. Can't we just go out for beers sometime?
Yeah. Emiko is Green Arrow now, and Oliver Queen's ghost, quotation fingers, is going to raise some hell on Green Arrow Island.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun. Do that a lot this week.
Yeah, you do.
Continuing on to Future's End number 19.
Okay.
So, Batman Beyond, the heist goes off without a hitch as Batman Beyond distracts the guards, and Key and Coil go and steal the U-Sphere prototype. But Plastique runs across her dead spider robot future self and freezes up and doesn't pull off her part.
Understandable.
Yes. So
when you see your robot self murdered in front of you, you go, well, I might need to think about my future decisions.
Yes. Jonah Hex had similar issues. So
yes.
If Jonah Hex can get frazzled, Plastique can get frazzled.
Yes. Much more expendable.
Yeah. So Key and Coil get attacked by security, and Terry grabs Plastique and says, maybe we should get out of here. Masked Superman / Shazam. He shows up on the roof of Lois's Swank Fastlane rooftop hangout and says, hey, please don't tell everyone that I'm Superman, not Superman. Okay? Please? Remember Stormguard? He said that you saw Nussing? Baby, can you just go along with that? For everyone needs a Superman, okay? I'm gonna go away and trust you. Ever since you trademarked that, I can't do it. So I'm glad you still pop in. That litigation really...
I'm sorry, man.
It threw some wrenches into the pod. That really threw some wrenches into the podcast for a few.
I know.
Months and months and months.
And years.
Litigation.
I know.
Hardcore litigation action.
I know. After I got sued by Disney for having my head look like Mickey Mouse because it had ears and was roundish, I had to just go out and start suing people.
I suppose. Checking in with our good buddy Ray Palmer. He's on the carrier with the dead Stormwatch members when he gets approached by one of the Storm Lords of the Shadow Cabinet and is appointed the new leader of Stormwatch.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ray Palmer, I'm letting you know that Brainiac is the entity that Stormwatch was created to defeat.
So the Demon Knights were supposed to face down Brainiac?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have, wouldn't it? Oh man, Al Jabber versus Brainiac with his new fang. Actually, he would have been the first one taken over.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah,
he would have just been like, "Oh, machine.
Why is this abacus attacking me? Why?
My high-tech abacus has turned against me. It's counting things slightly off."
People are still yelling at me for saying, "Oh, why'd you have to get me to buy this book and get mad that it get canceled?" I'm like, well, doing my part.
Hey, we still have that untitled 2020 DC movie. Maybe it's Demon Knights.
Maybe. Could be their guardians. Come on. And anyway, Ray Palmer, he says, I don't know, I can't really be a leader of Stormwatch. I haven't really told anyone, but all that shrinking I did as the Atom, it really messed up my brain. I really shouldn't be trusted with anything. Like, well, maybe you should try being something else besides the Atom. Maybe you can be better as the leader of Stormwatch. It's like, okay, if you want to give me that benefit of the doubt, I'll take it, I guess.
Here's the thing. He said maybe you should be something else, and the first thing he did was look over at Midnighter's body. So are we going to get crazy mad scientist Ray Palmer as Midnighter?
I thought it was just he'd have to be the dead person who's in the foreground. I don't think he was actually looking at it, but it's possible. It's entirely possible. Just
the way I read it, I was like, do not put on that costume, sir. It's like, hey guys, I'm Midnighter now. It's spooky. It's midnight. Woo!
In the shadow of the Shadow Cabinet, in the watch of the storm. So, don't even know what I just said. So back on CADMUS Island, Earth 2, Lana Lang, and Deathstroke, they're on the run from the Brother Eye-controlled Power Girl. When 50 Sue shows
50 shoes show up? Oh my
50
God.
shoes. Well, if I learned anything from World's Finest, it's that girls love shopping and
They
shoes
do
and
love
ice cream. So
shopping.
if 50 shoes were to show up, Power Girl would love that. So 50 Sue shows up along with the 50 shoes and says that she's made a deal with Brother Eye.
For 50 shoes, apparently.
Yes. Also, Deathstroke, Lana Lang, and Grifter are off limits. Come on, let's get out of here. We gotta have Lana come and take the implant out of Grifter. And Death's just like, Sue, couldn't you just, like, will that thing out of Grifter? And she's like, what? Torturing Grifter is what I do best. If I've got to subject him to the pain of having this thing removed from inside of him, I'm gonna do it, okay? Lana, get over here. You're my forced fake mom.
Come on, Mom. It feels like do you remember the Twilight Zone movie? With the little kid that could control all of reality and all the people were stuck living in there, like, just going to the kid's every whim and just serving him essentially until someone came in and wasn't afraid of him anymore. It seems like that's what we're getting, where she's like, you're my family now, you're gonna do this, or else I'm just gonna make you not exist anymore.
Yep. Give you cancer. Finally, at the Wounded Duck, former Red Robin Tim Drake, who as we all know has been living under the name Percival Poppleham, closes down the bar.
Aren't you running out of names yet after all these years?
Never! Never. He fires up his Q-pad, only to see that the fast lane has broken the story of Shazam posing as Masked Superman. Lois Lane!
That did seem kind of weird, though, because he was just like, well, done polishing all my glasses. Guess I'll check out the game here. Oh, no, Superman!
Oh, man. Fastlane's my homepage. I just want to get the sports results.
Do you remember before this whole, like, September month thing started where we were like, man, it seems like they're just kind of running in place, just taking their time, waiting for something. This month really has kind of picked it up with stuff going on.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. So it's actually in a point now where I'm like, okay, I'm all in again. Let's do it. Go, charge!
Seriously.
Especially with some of these tie-ins that we'll cover here in the second half as well. But I have one more before we get to that. And that is Earth 2, Future's End number 1. I could only say that this issue is terrific. Terrific. Because we're dealing with Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific. And he's living La Vida Loca. He is about to release his U-Spheres out to the public. Everything's going awesome. But meanwhile, there's another Mr. Terrific by the name of Terry Sloan, who has shown up and come over to Earth Zero as well. Remember Terry Sloan being Mr. Horrific, as we called him, but he was the Mr. Terrific of Earth 2. He is also making these projects for the government as well, and his most recent one are these goggles that people can wear that will tell you which Earth someone is from. So if there's an Earth 2 person out there, it'll automatically highlight them and say, Earth 2 person, Earth 2 person. And of course, being Terry Sloan, not the nicest guy in the world, Mr. Horrific, he is purposefully programmed in a bug so that Michael Holt shows up as an Earth 2 person.
Ain't I a stinker?
Yeah, he totally Sandra Bullock's Michael Holt. It's the net. The guy can't access his money anymore.
Yeah.
He's a dirty Earth 2ian, and they're like, yeah, you're horrible. We're gonna lock you up with the other Earth 2 people. And they're basically running around. He's like,
they call him something awful like drybacks or...
Yeah, it was weird. I was trying to figure
out...
I was trying to figure out why that would be the term for them. I really spent a lot of time trying to figure out why, and I could not come across it. I don't know. I don't know why someone from Earth 2 would be called something dry.
You're dry when you come through a portal, as opposed to if you come from the future, you're covered in goop.
We know that.
Yeah.
Or you make a giant lightning thing around you that destroys everything around. I don't know. Whatever. It was just a weird slur that I was trying to figure out. Because personally, I would have gone with, like, everyone would call themselves primes or something like that. You're not a prime.
You're medium rare.
Yeah. I'm sure Amazon made a ton with their Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
Amazon 2 did not do so well.
Netflix didn't know what hit them. They did not know what hit them.
So anyway, it turns out that Terry Sloan, Mr. Terrific, is working with another Terry Sloan, Mr. Terrific, from another Earth, Or this Earth, I don't know. Maybe he's the Terry Sloan of Earth Zero. And this is the Earth 2 Terry Sloan that came over, and now they're both like, we're both jerk faces. Let's both be mean. Yeah. This guy used our name, Mr. Terrific. Let's get him. So they're teaming up to basically break into Michael Holt's lab because there are 3 objects left over from the Doomsday Darkseid War thing that was out there. Not Doomsday, the Darkseid War. And they are called, boom something or others, boom spheres. They're basically like micronized boom tubes that they can't control. They don't know what they can do with them yet. They're kind of very chaotic. And they want to steal those, so they go, hey, Michael Holt, we'll delete your Earth 2 stuff and give you back your life if you just give us control of these spheres. He goes, sure, but I'm smarter than you guys, so he gives them both control of them, so they have to share control. And of course, these guys are not nice people, being known as Mr. Horrifics in our circle. They turn on one another immediately, and it seems like the Earth 2 one kills the Earth 0 one, and he's like, waha, it's mine, but then they explode, taking out the entire building, throwing these prototype U-spheres all over, and Michael Holt has to fight against Terry Sloan, but that's when all the people pick up their U-spheres and figure out how to use them. Apparently, they're very intuitive as far as how you make them work. And they use them to just basically bonk Terry Sloan on the head, like make him fly at him and go tonk, 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 until he flies away. But, and this is the big, big, big reveal of this issue. It's extremely confusing, but the big reveal is that Michael Holt puts on the glasses to see which Terry Sloan won in their fight against one another. And it zooms in on Terry Sloan, and it goes, Terry Sloan, Earth unknown. So he's not an Earth 2 Terry Sloan. Or the Earth 2 Terry Sloan was a Terry Sloan from a different Earth that came to that Earth 2.
Replace that Terry Sloan?
And replace that Terry Sloan who has now come to Earth 0.
Did you say that he's gone through several Terry Sloans that he keeps replacing?
He has Terry clones.
Terry clones, yeah.
It was too easy. That was like a little fruit right there. I was like, oh, thank you. I'll take that.
Very low hanging.
Yes, very much so. But that kind of does open up a bunch of doors because, as they even say in this issue, Terry Sloan made the promise that he was going to protect his Earth, but which Earth is it? And is he fighting for another Earth that's not even in this whole war thing, trying to manipulate all the forces over here outside, fighting them over there before he has to fight them over here? Is that what this Terry Sloan is doing? It throws a big wrench into it. It throws a big wrench into it. For such a small little detail, we've got another Earth in the mix right now that no one even knows is in the mix.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm hoping, hoping it's one of the fun ones. Maybe Earth 52? Maybe.
Finally.
It could finally be coming down the pike now. All those lamps are tired. They're tired. But that's it. That'll wrap up round 1. I know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 books to cover in the second half. So
be a piece of cake.
Yeah, it'll be easy peasy. We're going to take a little bit of a higher pace, higher level, quicker pace. I don't know why I always say higher pace, but we will get through them. So Brian, what do you have for round 2?
The Futures End editions of Action Comics, Batman, Batwing, Justice League United, Green Lantern Corps, Phantom Stranger, Infinity Man and the Forever People, Birds of Prey, and World's Finest.
And of course,
After all these years, I finally got that down.
I know, it's about time. And I have New Suicide Squad, or Newicide Squad. Not so new anymore
Not
after
really,
5
no.
years. Detective Comics, Grayson. Oh my God, Grayson. Oh my God. Aquaman, Swamp Thing. Oh my God, Swamp Thing. Batgirl. Holy cow, Batgirl. I can't wait to go over that one. Superboy, and I will wrap up this episode with Constantine. So hold on a couple seconds as we listen to some awesome future music, and we will come back to go over those books. We decided
I trademarked that.
I know. I got sued horribly for it.
Turnabout is fair.
So what do you say we cover a good 18 books here in under an hour?
Sounds like a plan.
I think we can do it. We're going to start off, though, with New Suicide Squad. Still new. Still Suicide Squad. Not dead yet. Well, most of them.
Well, you know.
They're not
that's
doing
kind of their thing.
They're not doing very good, though, because if you remember, they never
do good. They refuse to commit suicide.
I know. They tried to make the Suicide Squad better. More extreme, even. And it didn't quite work out. And it even drove Amanda Waller into the underground. She escaped from the government. They were railroading her into a path she did not want. So she went renegade, and she's going Rambo style to get revenge against the government because they kind of cast off her Suicide Squad team after their experiments didn't work and went a different route. And she wants to stop this new route. So she breaks into Belle Rev prison, where she finds Deadshot, who is missing an arm because they tried to graft on an arm cannon and it rejected it. So now he's just Deadshot sans arm, not doing too well. And they go and get Black Manta, who is a vegetable, for lack of a better term, who works for fish sticks.
Sea cucumber.
There you go. Very good. He works for fish sticks because they tried to upload Deathstroke's fighting tactics into his brain and frazzled it. So he's like this uber killing machine, but he's just like rage mode all the time. But if you give him a fish stick, he's like, yay!
Bring in the Gordon's fishermen. Have some fish sticks.
And last but not least comes Harley Quinn, who they injected full of venom and is a giant slavering rage monster. And she basically gets that band back together because she found out the government has been cloning villains instead of trying to get the actual villains themselves to work for them. They figure if they clone them, raise them as their own, hey, we got our own dispensable Suicide Squad people out there that we can just send out to do things. And she doesn't like that whatsoever. It takes all the nuance, the subtlety out of it. All of the manipulation. That was her thing. That was where her bread and butter was right there, and they just ruined it. So she's gonna take it down, and she's gonna use them to do it. And they break into this cloning facility, where they find literally just bay after bay of baby Deadshots and baby Black Mantas. And then there's even, teenage Jokers that show up and well, actually kind of more preteen Jokers that end up killing Harley Quinn and killing Black Manta with explosives, and Amanda Waller and Deadshot keep running. And that's where they meet teen heartthrob Deathstroke, who they even poked his eye out to make it as close to the original as possible. It's like, I didn't like it either, but that's what they did. But look at me, I'm teen heartthrob Deathstroke. I've got all the fighting powers and strengths of Deathstroke, but without all the old age stuff. So I'm totally...
everything with Deathstroke in Zac Efron's body.
Pretty much. And he's like, but I do remember from my cloning stuff that I did not like you, Deadshot. Did not like you at all, so I'm gonna finish you off. And Deadshot goes, that's cool. Amanda, I'll take care of him. You just go blow up this little lab facility thing. And they end up fighting, and it's actually kind of funny because they pull out guns, and he, of course, only has the one arm, and he's like, well, this doesn't seem like a fair fight. And they go, okay, well, how about swords? And Deathstroke tosses a sword to him, he catches it in his one hand, he's like, this seems less fair now for some odd reason. And they end up fighting. And he ends up getting the upper hand.
At least didn't toss it to the lost arm.
Yeah, just clank. But they end up fighting and slashing at each other, and Deathstroke wins by turning to take a stab into his stump, his arm stump, and it catches the sword and then just beats down Deathstroke with the hilt of his own sword and shoots him in the head and dies there on the floor, both Deathstroke and Deadshot, as Amanda Waller detonates the building. So victory for the team! And technically they all commit suicide in this action. Yay, Suicide Squad! It was actually kind of cool. I really liked it. It was a nice little side thing. Amanda Waller, anti-government, much more malicious than actual pro-government Amanda Waller. Surprising, honestly. Yeah. Plus, I just like the idea of the younger versions of all these characters running around. I thought that would be great. A Teen Titans villain clone team. To be a foil to the Teen Titans. That could be a lot of fun right there. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Yep. So, next up.
We got Action Comics Futures End #1.
I have a feeling this is the one I stole your jokes from, huh?
Yeah. So a sand ghost of Superman left over from Mixtleplick energy, maybe? Shrug, even in the comic, it's like shrug. I don't know.
He's here.
Let's go with it. Grants one of Superman's powers to random Metropolis denizens for limited amounts of time, and some people use them for good, and others learn a lesson from it. And then the Sand Ghost Superman goes and shames Zack Snyder bearded farmer Superman for not being the inspiration that he should be.
Quit playing Farmville.
Yes. And then he makes this soil all fertile there down in Africa. Yep.
Yeah.
And
It's
he
almost
goes
like
on his
something
way.
would fit right there.
Yeah, it's almost like something would fit right there.
I'm sorry. I
Yes,
didn't
that's
think
all right.
about it.
That's fine. Yeah, so then he just goes off. He's like, "Stop wearing that beard," and the ghost sand Superman dissipates. And yeah, it was very good, but also it felt like you could have plugged this into any Superman book at any time in any place, and it would have fit.
But isn't that what you should do for a one-shot, though? Because
suppose.
it doesn't really fit in the timeline. It is a one-shot story. It should fit almost anywhere.
But it doesn't add anything to the narrative of the rest of the month like some other books are doing.
No. But
It's a very good story, just,
again, it's kind of like a backup story almost that you just have there, and they tweaked it a little bit. I thought it was a good story, though.
Yeah, it was
overall.
very good. If you like Superman, read it, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Next up, Detective. Let's see what Batman's up to in this whole thing.
Yeah.
He's not the Batman we quite remember, I think.
No.
But anyway,
Oh, he is the Batman we remember. It's the Batman that he's always been the past few months.
kind of. This Batman is in trouble because Calendar Man has taken over Arkham Asylum and intends to tear down all of the electric grid of the city, put it back into a 0 year again even, if the man responsible for tearing his family apart does not show up at Arkham to face the justice of Calendar Man. The justice of Calendar Man, apparently very scary. Very scary. Of course, no one can get in. It's Arkham Asylum. It's got all these safeguards and traps in it. And one man designed all these traps. The now legitimate Riddler. He's gone legit. He designed all of the safeguards for the Arkham, and Batman shows up and goes, "Hey, dude, I need
Lex
your
Luthor
help."
can design the Maw.
Yeah.
Riddler can design...
Exactly. He's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what needs to do to be a good supervillain. Hey, it worked out well for Lex Luthor. He's an arch nemesis. Riddler's like, I'm going to nail this arch nemesis thing down. I need to actually get a government contract here. Who's hiring? Stenographer. Worst government contract ever. So, he ends up convincing Riddler to help him break in because he goes, well, Calendar Man's just going to one-up you with this whole 0 year thing, and everyone's going to go, hey, remember Calendar Man's 0 year? It was so much more cool than the Riddler's 0 year. And the Riddler, of course, being very narcissistic, goes, fine, I'll help you break in. And the two of them kind of have a buddy cop situation. These guys worked together before, right? There was a time where the Riddler went straight and narrow and was kind of a detective.
In the old continuity, he was a competing detective, and his whole thing was he was trying to solve crimes before Batman could.
That's actually a great idea.
It was amazing.
That is a great idea. I don't know if I want to see him rehash old stuff, but I'll have to figure out where that was. You'll have to let me know.
Is Dini's run.
Oh, the Streets of Gotham stuff?
I think it was Detective Comics, or it was just Batman, one of the two.
Okay, gotcha. I just know he wrote like the Streets of Gotham as well, because that was what everyone was telling me to read with Hush, and he was in there. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you just omit those issues personally. I already set those 2 trades you bought on fire.
Every single time I buy it, you keep lighting it on fire.
Yep.
I'm like $5,000. That's why I had to sue you for the whole copyright infringement, just so I could try to break even on the trades you keep burning.
Hey,
So anyway, these two make their way into Arkham Asylum, and they meet the Calendar Man, and he's like, oh, the man who destroyed my family, you're here. And, of course, Riddler's like, yep, there he is, Batman, the guy that, had you arrested, took your son away, so, do your thing, I'm gonna go over here and be a legitimate Riddler guy off to the side. And Calendar Man goes, no, I'm not talking about Batman, I'm talking about you, Riddler. My wife died in the 0 year, and it's because of you that I ended up turning to a life of crime and lost my son. You're the man that destroyed my family. And Riddler goes, oh no, you tricked me, Batman. How could you? And Batman just kind of laughs as they haul off the Riddler to, I assume, murder him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, ha ha, pulled one over on you, Riddler, and just walks away. And I was like, holy crap, Batman, that was cold. Not a happy Batman there at all.
No.
But he was very mirthful about it. He seemed quite overjoyed with his...
bringing his step.
Yeah, he was very spry, which was kind of counteractive to your title.
Yeah. Well, maybe he actually had springs built into his heels. So, according to my Batman Future's End, Bruce Wayne's back is failing. Like, if you've seen Kingdom Come and he's got his brace on or whatever, or a lot of other ones where his back's all scarred up and he's all...
That's
like
Bane.
Yeah, it's like, that's a Bane. So he,
You've seen the Robot Chicken DC Comics.
No, I have not.
You haven't?
Not a fan of the Robot
Chicken. There's a running sketch of Bane just shows up throughout the entire episode and breaks people over his knee, and then it zooms in with a little circle, and that's Bane.
Okay, maybe I'll have to see that just so I can get your jokes. Bruce Wayne's back is failing. He's sitting there watching all of his spin-offs on the screen in front of him.
Man.
And Alfred shows up, and he's just like, Master Bruce, maybe you can let one of your 50 spin-off heroes take over for you? And he's just like, you know what, Alfred? You wouldn't let your daughter take over for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Not that I didn't love the Butler Battle Book crossover.
No.
But...
Battle for the Butler. Battle for the Buttle.
Yeah, the Butler Battle Book. So I'm going to continue being Batman. Thank you very much. All I have to do to fix myself is to go and rob the last known sample of the Calder component so I can fix myself.
I'm surprised it's not called the Creepy Calder component.
Well, there's already something that's called 3Cs. So he has to suit up with his augmented skeleton bat suit that can only hold his body together for so long and go and pull an awesome heist at LexCorp and deal with Lex Luthor's hilariously elaborate security system.
Yes!
Which I loved so
Ocean's
much.
1.
Yeah,
I actually did the written review for this for Talking Comics, and that was the main thing that I was like, far and away, who stole the book for me was Lex Luthor and his elaborately designed traps, and even the art that Aiko did, or...
Yeah.
Is that a person or a group of people? Or
I don't know.
I don't know either, but...
He/them/it did,
I don't know.
The entity known as Aiko did a great job, just like he did with the villains issue for Wonder Woman way ago.
Yes.
He deals with the system. He gets down and realizes that Lex Luthor is trying to be the only person who can create clones. And he has to deal with Bizarro. Bizarro's back 5 years later. Me am no stop clones.
And he's even the caretaker of all the other half-baked Bizarros that it seems like they're making.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, it's my family.
Yes. I hate my family. So Batman still manages to escape. He goes out and he collapses at the Batcave, where we see that Batman has cloned himself because Gotham always needs a Batman.
Tell you, man. So many clones. So many clones.
I wonder, that clone in the vat, is that Terry McGinnis?
I wondered the same thing myself, honestly.
Because there was that little Batman Beyond coda at the end of Justice League Unlimited, not United. I keep making that mistake.
Yes.
Where Amanda Waller flat out says, like, you're Bruce Wayne's clone, right?
Yeah.
So
genetically, he's your father.
Yeah, genetically, he's your father. Yeah, he kind of orchestrated your father, your fake/real father dying, so you could be more like him. It's kind of weird, kind of messed up.
He's
surprising that this showed up in a children's cartoon, but
as a coda, especially for Justice League Unlimited,
which was the happiest, brightest, sunniest show.
And they're like, by the way, where we're going next, really, really dark. So you might not want to come along for this ride.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty happy with it. I liked
really
a lot of it.
The Lex Luthor stuff is above and beyond.
Yes.
So many other things that have. Well, there's a few things that are really good this month, but it's easily one of the best ones you can go and pick up. If you're gonna pick one up,
as we just covered this week.
And Ray Fawkes wrote it.
Yeah.
Ray Fawkes with Scott Snyder, but Ray Fawkes did all the heavy lifting. And I keep saying, keep waiting for his big break, because every time I read something of his, it really grabs me, like, in a few ways. I'd like to see him do something a little more high profile.
This one was more the optional choices they could have gone, and I understand it's the nature of a one shot. You can't really explore all these things, but they're like, hey, what do you think all of your spin-off characters would think of you not trusting them being Batman and actually going so far as to clone yourself to keep a Batman out there? And They're like, oh, we're not going to deal with that in this issue.
Yeah.
And then it's Alfred going, hey, maybe you shouldn't go out. Maybe you should do this. Oh, we're not going to deal with your concern this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of, hey, man, there's a lot of moral ambiguity here. There's a lot of story. It's rife with story elements, but we're not going to cover that. We're going to have a silly Ocean's 1 heist of Lex Luthor over here.
Lex Luthor is going to, if it's like, are you you've made it pretty far in my security system. Are you Batman?
I'm pretty sure you're Batman at this point. Man, what are you doing here? So you have one more you're going to do as well.
Ah, yes, Batwing.
Yes.
Batwing Future's End. It almost feels as if it was made for us.
It does. It was
Almost done.
It gave us a coda for a character.
Yep. Batwing, he's been in charge of Leviathan, as we all know. And they're taking control of all the illegal arms trades in the world. Weapons smugglers like the Marabunta ants, Charlie Caligula,
Of course.
Tokyo Mecha Stomp,
Okay.
Wood Ape, Cat and Mouse, Father Gun, Lion Mane,
Oh, it's about time. It's been so long since he's popped
who's
up.
been waiting for 5 years to get his revenge on Batwing, and Pitbull are not happy. How is Pitbull going to have his under-the-bridge Dr. Pepper parties without all of the money from his illegal arms deals?
I'm assuming poker. I'm assuming he's just going to sit at the poker table with his other dog henchmen and play poker
Yes.
and win back all of
I guess that's how else can I fund my Dr. Pepper parties? You know how much it costs to rent under that bridge? The troll rates on those troll bridges are horrible.
the troll toll.
The troll toll, yes. I'm going so far down a hole. Meanwhile, speaking of going down a hole, they track Leviathan under Dinosaur Island,
Of course.
and they attack, but Batwing is not actually in charge of Leviathan. He's in charge of Batman Incorporated. It was Batman Incorporated all along. It was all a huge
Sting
ruse,
operation.
sting operation to take out all of these illegal arms dealers. And so our good buddies Night Runner and Man of Bats and King Bat, who I do not recall ever seeing, but
I don't
he's
remember
there.
King Bat either.
But there's King Bat,
But we got Lion Mane and Man of Bats in one
Lion Mane
issue.
and Man of Bats in one issue, plus your Marabunta ants.
Plus my Marabuntas.
Yes. And so all of our friends, destroy the illegal arms deals forever underneath a dinosaur-inhabited island, and everyone has a happy ending. The end. Mwah.
And we even got the wrap-up of the family issues at
Yes,
the
where he
end.
says, everyone go say hi to your family, and everyone in the Fox family is happy and hugging.
Yes.
Finally.
Not
Finally.
enraged and chain smoking with tear-stained cigarettes. And
Yes.
it's like, wow. It's nice that we're after that now.
Mm-hmm.
It was that was everything we wanted this book to be when it started.
Yeah.
When we started with the Luke Cage stuff and it started down that, hey, jet-setting adventures of
It
Batwing.
almost seemed as if someone made them change. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It was great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it for a one-shot. It made me want Batwing back again, even though he's going away. It's like, okay, maybe you're going away for now, but maybe we'll see some of your silly adventures in Batman Incorporated coming down the line. We can hope at least. Not that Grayson and Spiral would have anything to do with Batman Incorporated. It's almost like they're two separate organizations on the two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
Surely they will never interact down the line. As such, though, I am going to cover Grayson. I have to do it strangely. Brian, did you read this one?
I glanced at it.
Okay. I'm just going to do it linearly at first, and then I'll go back and explain.
Yeah.
It's kind of a recap of everything that has happened to Dick Grayson. We start off way in the past where he's working for the circus. His parents are killed by Tony Zuko. He ends up joining Batman as Robin. Eventually, after all the Forever Evil stuff, he ends up joining Spiral and working alongside Helena Bertinelli. Now we fast forward a little bit into the actual Darkseid War, where it's desperate times, desperate measures. They are trying to get the manpower to even fend off Darkseid and his parademons. And Spiral has sent Bertinelli and Grayson off to Russia to deal with the new leader of the Russian Federation. Some guy who has risen to power, taken it over with an iron boot, and he is going to... They need to work with him and figure out a way so that he will use his troops to help defend the world from these parademons. This man in charge, known as the KG Beast. Old school, I'm assuming. With a name like KG Beast, I'm assuming this is an old character.
Yep.
Okay. They end up finally convincing him. He puts troops in there, and they end up winning the Darkseid War. They fend off all these troops. But the KG Beast uses this time to basically silence all of his dissenters. He disguises the war, uses it as cover to send his troops out to murder men, women, children, entire families of people that are dissenting against his rule of Russia. And that is a bridge too far for Grayson. He cannot abide this whatsoever. The dude does not abide in this case, and he actually breaks the neck of the KG Beast during a medal ceremony that they give to Grayson and Helena Bertinelli for their role in securing most glorious Russian Federation. And Grayson at that time launches forward, breaks the KG Beast's neck, and unfortunately Helena Bertinelli has to hang him for his crime. Yay! That's how you would read it in theory. This book is done Memento style.
Aha.
It is done backwards, so the first
that
page...
explains, I'm just like, well, I can't really quite tell what's going on here as I'm flipping through this, so I'm not going to
The first page is Dick Grayson being hung by Helena Bertinelli. The page after that it says earlier, and it's him apologizing to Helena Bertinelli. Oh, I'm sorry, that's why I had to do this. You know why I had to do it. The next page is earlier, and it's him breaking the neck of... So it's basically, it's answering the question of each page as you go further and further back. Now, throughout this as well, there are some subplots that are going on. Number one is how Dick Grayson is able to escape from bonds all the time. And it turns out that there's this special acid that he uses that you can wipe on there, and it's undetectable, and blah, 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 blah. And it turns out it's the exact same acid that was used that Tony Zuko used to kill his parents, to make the rope break so that they would fall. So it's one little through line that's going on through the past as well. Another one is his budding relationship with Helena Bertinelli.
I wonder how he got out of that noose hanging situation.
Well, that's just it. When you go through and you read it forwards, backwards, it changes the entire story itself. There's also their relationship coming together, and also this thing called the Cluemaster Code that was on one of the early cases that Batman and Robin went out on together, where the Cluemaster, every first letter of the sentence, the first letter of every sentence he would use, if you took it, it would spell out the clue that he was trying to do.
Cluemaster is terrible.
He is. But even then, it's a joke for Dick Grayson, so whenever he's just in normal conversation, he always applies it as he's listening to people talking, and he even makes a fart joke with it at some point where, as Helena Bertinelli is trying to figure out how they're going to escape, he's like, "Waha, Cluemaster Code, you have no idea what you just said." It's like, I've got a fart or something like that, if you go through and do it. If you also read it as well, that last page where Helena Bertinelli is hanging Grayson, if you apply the Cluemaster Code, it's their duress word to escape and to meet up on the roof afterwards. And you even see her wipe her hand on the noose itself, on the rope that's holding him. So then you get this entirely different perspective of it, where she's like, okay, we have to go through this show so I can break you free. Meet me on the roof and we'll fly away on my goofy little spiral copter and escape off into the night again once more. It's this great multi-layered story that really the first time you read it, you're like, man, that was actually a good story. And then the second time you're like, oh, I get it now.
Man,
it was
well
done. So well done. And it was the first one written just by Tom King, because this title's being done by King and Seeley.
Okay.
And it looked like they worked out the plot, but he did all the dialogue. The only time he had done all the dialogue prior was the Nightwing 30 issue, that middle section that I was kind of like, about. So to see him do this,
yeah,
totally faith restored. I'm so happy to see he's found his way to do it and get it out there. And it was very cleverly done. Very cleverly done. Cannot speak well enough about this issue, so
cool.
Definitely check it out.
All right, so I'm moving on to Justice League United, not Unlimited, Future's End. And so we start off in Canada, as we usually do, with Justice League United. After taking out Polargeist and his legion of cyborg polar bears with frickin' laser beams on their heads.
I want to see all the Canadian villains now.
I know.
I need them now.
Yep. JLU member Equinox gets a telepathic distress signal from Martian Manhunter. She goes and meets up with Animal Man, and he's very vague about why They broke up for some reason. We all know why they broke up. And then she goes to visit the current Justice League at their horrific District 13 bunker headquarters in New Mexico. Hey. There's been a breakout at the super fun Justice League Gulag on Mars, where they keep people who are too dangerous to keep on Earth, like Mongol, Gorilla Grodd, Killer Frost, and the Mechaneer.
Sure.
Yeah, he's too dangerous.
I think the Mechaneer is probably going to be a cyborg villain coming up here pretty soon.
Probably. And no, he was a cyborg villain.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. And so they've been broken out by the worst killer the universe has ever known, Captain Atom.
Dun. You know why?
He made the trip from the moon to Mars.
He is so sick of the moon, taking so much flack for all these years. He is now the moon defender. I'm kind of confused about this. He was kind of a weird character in the old continuity, right? He never really had a place, it seems.
He kept... Yeah, there was
so
a
much
point
so
where
that
he
they
was...
cast him off to another publishing company for a while.
Yes, they did send him off to the Wildstorm universe before they were integrated, yes. Like, hey, you want a superhero? While we borrow your cool hero, while we borrow Majestic for a while, you can have Captain Atom. We don't want Captain Atom. You can have Captain Atom. Don't you worry.
Just stick him in the bleed. Let him do some stuff over there.
Yeah. It'll be important, maybe. Push.
No, I'm kind of curious to see what they end up doing with them. As I've said before, I kind of like the premise of Captain Manhattan, as they called him. I like the premise, the guy that has godly powers but wants to stay human and not lose his touch to humanity. It's kind of the reverse of Captain Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan. So I like that angle. I don't know if that kind of backfired on him and he just ended up going evil in that pursuit or what, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just doesn't believe in gulags. He's an anti-gulag captain, which is understandable as well, I guess, as well. So next up, I have Aquaman. I know your Justice League United was also one of these, a two-parter that's coming out this month.
Yeah, this is going to finish up in Justice League.
And mine is Aquaman in this one, and then it finishes up in Aquaman in the others, I believe, next week. But Atlantis hit really hard during the Darkseid War. I mean, they lost a lot of people, a lot of resources. The oceans themselves were polluted during the war, so they can't even grow anything undersea anymore. It's really, really badsies for everyone down under the sea. It's not good at all. Aquaman has decided, well, okay, how am I going to combat this? I need to get our plight out in front of the people. Sarah McLachlan died during the Darkseid War, so I can't use her. Otherwise, I would just show sad Atlanteans while she sang a song. Not going to work this time, though. So what I'm going to do is build a surface city of Atlantis that basically will make it part of the world. People will be like, okay, there's a city there. I feel these people's plight. We should send resources. We should send help. That'll work. We'll get everything back on its feet. We'll keep Atlantis underwater. We'll have the underwater thing, but we'll have a tether to the surface world. Most notably, though, he seems to have broken up with Mara, no longer with her, and is now dating Yawara, aka Jungle Girl, as you call her, for all of these years. This has left the Atlanteans, a large section of them, because he's kind of pro-surface almost, more than pro-water.
Yeah.
Including Mara, to be very salty with his role, and to fix it.
Underwater, salty.
They have gone off and
I always
resummoned.
had questions about that floozy you're always running around with in a bikini.
They've decided they need a strong hand to guide Atlantis, so they have gone and resurrected the Ice King and brought him back, and they end up leading an attack against Aquaman and all of his friends. Some of the others that are there as well, and taking Aquaman captive pretty much. And they go, well, it's time. The only thing we can do is make the surface pay for all of the sins they have done to the sea. Prep up the Atlantean war machine. We're marching out once more again, and it'll obviously finish up over in Aquaman and the others. It was interesting. I kind of like getting those little snapshot pictures of how the world is after this Darkseid War, or at least one of the potential endings of how things turned out after the Darkseid War. We all know how it ended after the Darkseid War, of course, but I kind of like these little snapshots of how it's done that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
On to Green Lantern Future's End. Hal Jordan teams up with Relic, as we all know, came back to life. To fight off Krona, the new Black Hand and his Black Lantern Corps at the Source Wall. There's also a bit where Hal's dad is a very reasonable, calm Black Lantern who came back to life.
Yeah.
Hey, Hal.
Well, we remember he was resurrected a while ago.
Yeah.
Like, Villains Month, I believe, was when he was actually resurrected as a Black Lantern. Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Black
geez.
Hand came out and resurrected him in Villains
Good
Month.
Lord, yeah, man. Jeez, it feels so long ago. But Hal gets fried in the fight and winds up getting added to the Source Wall himself.
Wow. That didn't work out too well.
Nope.
Did he get clonked on the head at all?
Well, yeah, it's Hal Jordan. Of
Oh,
course he
good.
did.
Phew. I was a little worried.
He's gonna go out. He's gonna go. He died as he lived, getting hit on the head by things.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So moving on to Green Lantern Corps Future's End. The Death Dealer, John Stewart, the rogue sniper of the Green Lanterns, is off to hunt down Marrow, the former eeny-weeny mute lantern from his new recruit corps from 5 years ago.
The silent one that
Yes.
wouldn't even hurt a fly.
Yeah. Marrow has been working for the Shadow Empire ever since they gave him his voice back. So John Stewart goes to snipe him, but gets stopped by Indigo, one of the Indigo tribe. She keeps teleporting him away from where he wants to be, and he gets so angry that he kills her.
Well,
Yes.
John Stewart,
Yeah.
after the Daily Show got canceled, he got really raw.
Hey, sorry, John Oliver was better, dude. That's just how it goes. So he realizes that he has just become a mindless murderer since fatality was taken away from him, and since he has that one shred of compassion left in him, he gets to take over as the new leader of the Indigo tribe.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
John Stewart.
Actually, he would just say knock again and completely ruin the joke, but, you know.
I didn't have anywhere to go after John Stewart either, so I'm glad you pre-ruined the joke for me.
Yeah.
So, Green Lantern Corps, not doing
Things
too well.
not going so good. No matter how space marine-y their Green Lantern uniforms have become, not going good.
I feel
Makes
like
for a good Halo game, not so much for the actual Green Lantern Corps itself.
I feel like Presence End is kind of the darkest timeline here of the DCU.
It's possible. It's entirely possible.
Things are not going well.
No.
Swamp Thing.
Great to see Charles Soule back at DC. It's been
know.
a long 5 years.
It has been a long 5 years.
Terrible.
Not
Terrible.
terrible. I mean, he did some good stuff over at Marvel, and his image books were great, though. Mm-hmm. His image books were awesome, so you have to give him some credit there.
Yeah.
And then when he went and formed the Soul Man publishing line, where he just writes everything and has absorbed every other comic company into it, except for a couple little stragglers here.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
No.
Just writes it all.
Yeah.
He is the brainiac of comic books.
Yes.
He's absorbed it. Anyway, he has come back to write Swamp Thing, Future's End #1, where we basically get kind of this journey tale of Swamp Thing as he visits all of the kingdoms that have been separated out. Of course, we had known about the Gray, the fungal kingdom prior, and we've met these other ones before, but after their great war against one another, they all decided they would no longer take a direct role on the world itself. They would not meddle anymore directly. They were all separated into their own subdomains, and they could send agents to do stuff, but they could not directly intervene. And of course, he swings by the Gray on his mission, and he goes, "Hey, Gray, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm going to do. You know what you need to do." And the Gray is some weird guy that seems to be trying to make a girl out of fungus all the time. The same girl over and over to try to make her exactly as he remembered her. Leaves from there and goes to the Red to steal a bear. He just
Not just any bear, a multi-bear.
a multi-bear.
Yep.
He grabs a bear with 3 heads and
I like
throws
how much of a jerk he is to the leader of the Red. He's like, "Hey, dork, give me your bear."
Leave me alone now. I'm just taking your bear. And he just leaves with the bear. It's such a weird scene. I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out. If it's still Buddy as the Avatar.
Yeah.
If it's still Animal Man, if that's the relationship they ended up having. He was like, "Hey, dork face, I'm taking your
Buddy's
bear."
living with his wife.
What's that?
Buddy's living with his wife.
Exactly. So I don't know who would be
Yeah.
in charge then. We know it's not his daughter.
Yeah.
Because she was even there during that little conversation during
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited and said, "I was supposed to be the Avatar, but you didn't let me."
Although she can still fly. She gets mad that her dad doesn't let her fly.
Yes. Although, you think it's Buona Beast now?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we have the multi-bear.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just like
exactly why.
multiple bears and moosh.
Yeah. Crack the code.
So he leaves the red, takes his little multi-bear down to this new kingdom called the Divided Kingdom. The Kingdom of Bacteria. He just tosses the bear into their bacteria realm and it just kind of eats it and absorbs it. And they just live essentially to get new flesh. They just want to infect and recreate and multiply and just basically take everything over. And Swamp Thing goes,
There's bacteria, they divide.
yes. Swamp Thing shows up and goes, hey, I'm going off on my mission. I may not come back. You know the rules. I'm outie. And he leaves. It's like
I
he's
brought
going
you the
after-
multi-bear. You could have defeated it just by playing Baba's Disco Girl, but no. No. You had to eat it. You ruined everything.
So it seems like he's paying visits to all these things to remind them of their roles because he might not come back. And his last stop is the machine. The metal avatar is there, and he just goes, hey, your odds are really bad. You're probably going to die, but yeah, I'll do what you want me to do. Before Swamp Thing even says anything, I'll make sure that the Divided and the Gray and the Red don't all renege on their rules and go out there and actually attack the Earth once more. There will be balance. I will make sure that there is balance. That's what I do. I'm the machine. I maintain balance. He goes, cool. Thanks, man. See you later. I'm off to go to my last visit. And his last visit, of course, is the Rot, where he shows up and Anton Arcane has fused his left arm into the arm of Abby Arcane so that he can co-rule the Rot. Ew, 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 right off the bat. So they share an arm between the two of them, and they sit on their double-seated throne. And he shows up.
Isn't that his niece?
Yes, his niece
That he got
wife.
married to.
Yes. Yeah, it's all just bad in general. So, Swamp Thing shows up and goes, hey, Anton, you and me, buddy, one last time, squared circle, we're gonna finish this. And he goes, dude, you're in the Rot. You can't do anything to me. We already signed the accord. There's nothing you can even do to harm me here. And he's like, maybe not, but I got myself this fancy-wancy white lantern ring. Booyah-shaka. And Anton's like, okay, well, that's scary for me, I'll admit. It's a ring of life, and I am the Rot incarnate. But you can't use it. It'll destroy you. And he's like, but that's why I brought the other Swamp Thing in my belly over here that did use it. Oh! And Anton goes, oh no, that's a bad thing. And they end up fighting to the death. And basically the ring goes flying up into the air, and Swamp Thing throws the severed head of the old Swamp Thing at the ring, who basically just hungry hippos it up, and it then explodes in this giant white light, assumably killing everyone there, killing the Rot, but also killing Swamp Thing as well. And it's got this nice through line about what heroes do, and it's not about actually winning the day. It's about being willing to stand up for it and sacrifice yourself for the greater good, even if it isn't the most logical progression of acts that you should do. Obviously, bringing the severed head of one of your previous incarnations in a ring into a realm of death and dismay, probably not the most logical route. But it works, and it's a great story. It's so many seeds sown, pun intended as well. Okay. On future stuff that's going to come on. Obviously, we're going to get these other kingdoms once Charles Soule goes back and fills in all the stuff that he missed out on for 5 years. Mm-hmm. So it'll be pretty fun, I think. Moving on.
Yeah, so it is Phantom Stranger, Future's End. So Phantom Stranger, he has finally paid off all of his silver coins.
So many years.
So many years. And he goes to the new Council of Eternity to meet his final fate, but it's not the Council of Eternity that he remembers. No, this is God's all-new Council of Eternity, featuring Neron,
hey,
Trigon,
woo,
Eclipso,
yeah,
Mr. E, Blight, and Dark Angel Zoriel. They judge him as fail. But then Mustache Dog shows up and he's like, hey, wait, maybe putting evil in charge of this celestial edition of The Voice wasn't the best idea.
No, he's like, hey, you guys were supposed to actually rule fairly. And they go, dude, we're demons and devils and bad guys. Come on.
What were you thinking?
Omnipotent, you stupid dog.
So Phantom Stranger gets to keep his powers. Mustache Dog God fries the council. And he gets to meet his wife from when he was Philip Stark, and she loved him most of all. And now he goes freely as the Phantom Stranger he was before the relaunch, serving humanity just
Just cause.
Just cause.
I thought it was a nice coda to the series.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, you
as
had
far
your,
as the
your,
series was, it was a fine coda.
You had your religious overtones in there. I mean, just enough, because you got to have it for Phantom Stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your...
new Phantom Stranger.
Your philosophical debates that you love so much as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that in there. And it gave him an actual ending and starting point at the same time.
Yeah.
See, that's a pretty good one-shot right there.
Yeah.
I know you're always salty about it. I almost took this off you just because after I read it, I was like, but it was too late.
Yeah.
So I was just like, he's already got his notes done. I'm not going to do it. So, but I knew you were just going to be like, meh. It's more biblical stuff and more philosophical stuff, and then he just leaves.
I've also got Infinity Man and the Forever People.
True story.
No. Throw out your rules. These are the new God's rules.
Okay. New God's rules. Right.
Yes. So, Mark Moonrider and Beautiful Dreamer are trapped at the CADMUS Singularity, the neutral ground between Apocalypse and New Genesis that was created after the Second Lantern War.
Okay. I remember that Second Lantern War. That was very good.
Yeah, the first one's always better. We flash back to what happened after they summoned Lord Agog and when Hyman quarantined the planet when Viking, Serafina, and Big Bear were all kicked out of the team after losing their Inferno challenges.
Of course.
And tried to summon the Infinity Man by themselves.
Well, that wasn't very bright of them.
No. They lost to New Genesis creation OMAC because his power was not infinite since he was only summoned by 3 people and not 5.
So he's just shy of infinite? Or
just
3/5 infinite?
Yeah.
There's a math problem I don't want to do. What's 3/5 of infinity? I don't know. I give up. I'm done.
That's why I was an art major. I didn't like math. So he was captured. Infinity Man, they need to go and get him. But oh wait, Mark Moonrider died too. He's actually just Dreamer's dream, and she's still asleep trying to dream up a perfect Mark that won't leave, and she doesn't have to watch die again.
Happy.
Yeah.
So this entire thing is just Beautiful Dreamer making dream versions of Mark Moonrider over and
herself over and over again,
just to try to get one that won't leave and dissipate as soon as he steps out the door.
Mm-hmm.
That's a happy ending right there.
Yeah. Yep.
True story.
No, it stopped being the true story. It became Road Rules, and now it's slowly turning into the challenge. Come on. You didn't notice that through line there?
I did. I was just ignoring it.
It's been 5 years, man. You got to replenish the material. So, number one, I got to say this. Philip Tan did an amazing job on this.
Yes.
It looked excellent. The costume looked new and updated, and it looked like something modern. And I mean, he's also the same guy who designed all the Orange Lanterns back in the day. So,
was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I got him and Billy Tan confused in that conversation we may or may not have had on the show.
Yeah. That made sense.
Yes. But yeah, very well done. It was surprisingly, I was amazed by how much I like this issue, considering how much I've been poo-pooing Infinity Man, the Forever People so far.
We've not been poo-pooing. We've been laughing and having fun with it.
We have been having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, and a lot of seeds planted. If you want to get a lot of hints and stuff for the future to come.
Yeah,
the past. All the hints of the past.
Yes, the hints of the past. Don't forget.
Yes, this concept isn't falling apart at all.
It fell apart like 10 minutes in.
I know. Oh, God, I've got another one.
Yeah, I know.
Holy crud.
I triple stacked you
Why
here.
just triple stack me here?
So you could take a break while I did a couple, and then you would just have one left to go.
True. So Birds of Prey Future's End. So Black Canary is still in charge of her League of Assassins, the Red League, where she saves people from human trafficking rings so she can let them be free people instead of having no names or identity by putting them all in identical ninja outfits and calling them by random Greek letters. You know,
independence.
You're free. She goes to stop one being run by Dean Craig Pelton. Had such a fall after Greendale. Such a fall after Greendale. But runs into Bete Noir, the Black Beast of Gotham. They part as friends, and it turns out that Dean Pelton hung himself, surrounded by Dalmatians. So Black Canary continues on her crusade, and I'm sure absolutely nothing bad will happen to her in the near future at all.
Never.
Stay away from fire. So Sean, want to go over Bête Noir's story?
Yeah, you did. You left out that
I
little
left
nugget.
it for you, yes.
Well, you didn't have to. That was why I put it afterwards.
Okay.
Here. So, Bête Noir. Who is Bête Noir?
That's Batgirl.
What kind of Batgirl?
That's Bane Batgirl.
Yes,
That's
a
Barbara
very-
Gordon hopped up on Venom.
So let's talk about this because I'm gonna do Batgirl Futures End #1 right now. We remember things were looking bright for Batgirl. She moved to Burnside. Her life turned around. She left behind all that bleak stuff.
Yeah.
It was great. Remember when she met that guy, that police officer, and she was going to get married to him, and they actually had their wedding? Mm-hmm. But then James Gordon Jr. showed up at the reception and made her husband kill himself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of put her over the edge. She went a little cuckoo, not really crazy, but just thirsty
Did love Cocoa
for
Puffs.
vengeance. She was thirsty for vengeance.
And Cocoa Puffs.
And Cocoa Puffs. So she systematically infiltrated, became an inside girl in all of the crime syndicates of the world. Wormed her way into the Penguin, took him down and dismantled his entire thing. Wormed his way into the Riddler, dismantled everything. Just systematically through all these villains, taking down their crime empires. Until the last one, which was Bane. And she shows up. She actually is forced to work as a slave for a year before she even gets to meet Bane. And then she ends up like becoming his master student. And he goes, hey, if you're going to be a Bane disciple, here's some Venom. You got to do the Venom if you're with the Bane. That's what we do here at Bane Camp. And this one time at Bane Camp.
This one time at Bane Camp.
So anyway.
There's our title right there.
Yep. She ends up ripped. I'm talking just like, raw. Just, I will break you.
Amazonian CrossFit got nothing on Bane
No.
Girl.
But she has her chance to kill Bane, can't do it after all these years. She's just not a murderer. That's not her thing, but you can't cage the Bane. You gotta kill him. That's your only choice. So she ends up leaving and becoming Bête Noir with kind of a Bane-inspired costume, but comes back to Gotham City and forms, Brian, and this is just...
Tumblr literally exploded.
I'm
over
sure
this
it did.
issue.
The League of Batgirls. That's what she forms. And it is Cassandra Cain.
Tumblr exploded.
I'm sure.
The entire internet exploded.
Stephanie Brown.
Internet, they were already exploding during Eternal, but you know.
And Tiffany Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Fox's little sister.
His brilliant little sister.
Who have all donned the Batgirl mantle and worked together as their own fighting team under Bête Noir.
Day of, I found Tiffany Fox Batgirl fan art, and it's already up on the Tumblr.
Yeah, it was such a great... It's literally like 3 or 4 pages of these girls just running around fighting off gun runners, and it works as a book on its own right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they need that book out there ASAP. Obviously, they have to get Cassandra Cain in there and maybe get, the Fox girl up there a little bit and maybe kind of get that working. But it worked so well because it's basically Stephanie Brown being the fun, like, I'm just having a blast. And Cassandra Cain's just like, I will dismantle every evil thing I see in front of me. And then, of course, Little Miss Fox is the bright brains of the operation.
I'm adorable Batgirl.
Yes, with her pink Batgirl costume. It was so great. They end up coming back because they find out that the gun runners work for Bane, and they're like, uh-oh, Bane's in town. And Bane directly contacts Bête Noir, Barbara Gordon, and goes, hey, I know who you are. I knew who you were from day one. Let's you and me finish this. Come on out to the piers. I put bombs all over the city. You can't get to them in time. If you don't show up and have our final showdown, I will detonate the city. And she shows up and they have their little argument back and forth. And they end up just getting into a slobber knocker fight where it comes out she didn't take the Venom. She did this herself. She actually just P90X'd it to the extreme and just made herself into this brick wall of doom. This was not because of the Venom.
Yep.
She's like, in your face, Bane. One time at Bane Camp, I didn't take Venom. So they end up fighting, and she ends up coming to the realization she doesn't want to be this dark Avenger type person. She wants to be herself again, and she rips off the Bane mask and has a smile on her face and ends up beating up Bane as the detonator goes flying off. She's like, uh-oh, that's bad. And the League of Batgirls show up to catch it and go, yay! New family time. Now we get to all have fun together. And it ends with freeze frame, all of them jumping in the air like, yeah, new era of the League of Batgirls. It's such a fun little title right there. And it started off so bleak again. I was like, no, don't go back to the dark place. But by the end, it was basically a redemption story. I liked it a lot. That League of Batgirls, man, they need to get that going quick.
Yeah.
That sells itself easily. So, and a Robin's book to go alongside it.
Sure.
I need it now. So anyway,
We need more Batman.
just make it sidekicks, and you can just have these teams of people out there.
Yep.
I don't give a crap. I know that's what the Teen Titans used to be, at least, but just meh. So anyway, I think I had one more here. Yes, Superboy and his super clones. Well, super baby clones, super other people. Anyway,
Other
Superboy.
dimensional? I don't know.
Superboy has friends now, at least. He's still dying of whatever sickness it is that has been haunting him for all these years. But now he's hanging around with Guardian, Ravager, Grunge, and Freefall.
I think just Freefall.
Just Freefall? Yeah, okay, just Freefall. They're all kind of palling around together. They've made their own little super team. And who did the art for this one?
Ben Caldwell.
Yes, very cartoony, very awesome at the beginning. I was like, wow, this is a great look for a fun Superman book with his friends. Unfortunately for him, though, some Superboys from an alternate dimension show up, and now it turns out that he is actually Connor McCloud, because this is Highlander. There can only be one. They have to lop each other's heads off. Yeah, they have to absorb each other. They have the quickening and
Here we
gain
are.
your strength.
Born to be kings.
So we have like Cyborg Superboy and Scrunchy Face Superboy and Armor Wearing Superboy from a different dimension. They all show up because they're gonna beat up Khan, and they end up punching each other up. And the one of the Scary Face alternate dimension, and I'm sorry if this sounds bad, the art got really confusing at this point for me. So I was kind of like, who's doing what here now? I don't know. Okay,
Something happened.
I know, it can happen, especially when you're dealing with alternate dimensions of the same character and having them fight, because you really need to establish those characters, and you can't do that in a one shot because you don't know them. So you don't know their voices really. So anyway, they end up all fighting one another until eventually one of the bad guy Superboys absorbs the other two. Quickening! Lightning all over the place. And he becomes a raging Hulk Superboy.
He goes full Akira.
He does go full Akira, actually. Kaneda! That's war!
Beat lines.
Until eventually Khan punches through his chest, ripping out the machine he's using to absorb all the Superboys. And then he just explodes, and there's fireworks. And everyone sits on the dock and goes, yay, Superboy! Fireworks at the end. Again, I love that cartoony style if it's going to be Superboy and his friends. Just the actual fight scene itself was a little bit messy. Little bit.
Do that a few more times.
So, okay, you got one last book, Brian.
I've got World's Finest Future's End.
And 50 Shoe?
50 Shoe. We get the story of Power Girl getting captured by CADMUS Island. She is going to go break out Huntress, but she got stopped by a surprisingly poorly spoken 50 Sue.
Yes.
Maybe she was just younger at the time?
This was back in the day.
Yeah. The Earth 1 Power Girl that used to work for Karen was working as a scientist on CADMUS Island and tries to stop her, but she gets taken down by 50 Sue as well.
It looked more like she was infiltrating as well.
Yeah.
Because
seemed like there were a couple people who were like all trying to infiltrate CADMUS Island at the same time. They kept
that
like running into each other. Yeah.
Like everyone from the janitor up is actually just some superhero infiltrating it, and they're all just like, hey, is that you, Ollie? No, it's me, Magus.
Yes.
Oh, are you gonna die again?
Yes. But I do, okay?
I don't like it as much as you do. Yeah, that one had quite a bit too, though, with all of the people breaking out and the kind of the prison camp gulag atmosphere of this CADMUS Island. Gave it a little bit more backfill flavor to it.
Yeah.
And it did kind of set up the characters for where they ended up later on in Future's End. How they ended up being captured.
Felt bad for poor Steel. Earth 2 Steel apparently got vivisectioned.
Yeah.
According to one little throwaway panel.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out for him.
There's just a laundry cart full of steel.
That's okay. Terry Sloan plucked out the eyes of Red Tornado Lois Lane in Earth 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so she's not doing good either.
No.
So, my last one, and our last one for this episode, Constantine! It's him versus NAOW. That guy that lives in the helmet of Dr. Fate.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. My alternate title for this issue is Constantine Goes to the Anubis Market.
All these years, we still can't get away from your Anubis Market jokes, can we?
Anubis Market. We can go for food so good you can eat.
I hate you. So, I'm assuming you read this issue then, or did you just flip through and see a giant Anubis thing going, check? It's a one-on-one showdown.
I read it, yeah.
Constantine feels that he was slighted by NAOW. NAOW obviously made some sort of atrocious decision during the Darkseid War, and he's going to be held accountable for it, and Constantine's going to be the one to do it. So he has the helmet up there, and he's arguing with NAOW. I'm going to destroy you, blah, 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 and eventually gets tricked into grabbing the helmet and is forced to don it by the overpowering urge of NAOW. But, being Constantine, all a trick. He just wanted NAOW to fuse with him so that he could take him to the court of Anubis. Who will judge the worth of his soul based on how good he was to other people. And as they're having this moral argument between the two of them, Dr. Fate, I shouldn't say Dr. Fate, NAOW, the little guy that lives inside the helmet, the Wizard of Order or whatever, is summoning people to come don the helmet so that Dr. Fate can beat up Constantine in the physical plane. Luckily for Constantine, his good old pal, what is his name?
Lloyd.
Lloyd the bartender. Is
so happy to see him.
He survived everything. All these characters have died.
All the crap that anyone that hangs out with Constantine just died. Lloyd is a survivor.
But he is standing at the doorway to this building playing whack-a-mole with civilians as they walk in, and he's just clonking them over the head, knocking them unconscious, until eventually they all start pulling guns on one another, and he's having a shootout, and people are getting killed. And that, of course, is the prime exhibit for Constantine in the court of Anubis, where he's like, look, even while we're having this case, NAOW is summoning people. He doesn't care what happens to them, all so that he can try to escape from this situation. Clearly, he doesn't care about people. And Anubis goes, well, I guess you're right. I'm going to eat him. And he just goes, munch, 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 and eats him. Yay, Constantine. He defeated NAOW. But it turns out it wasn't Anubis. It was a genie that he created this fake court of Anubis so that he could get NAOW out of the helmet because the djinn wanted to take over the helmet. So I'm assuming Robin Williams will be Dr. Fate moving forward.
Never had a friend like Dr. Fate.
I did like how the fact where he goes, hey, just say some mystical mumbo-jumbo stuff and keep pretending you're NAOW. No one will be any wiser. Just say mysterious stuff. And it doesn't have to make sense. Just say mysterious stuff. And then he goes downstairs. He goes, hey, Lloyd, let's go grab a beer. And the two of them strut off going, yay, we beat another Prime Wizard. Go team. And poor Lloyd is just all shell-shocked and torn apart. He's like, God, I hate this job.
Why am I friends with you?
I liked this one a lot as far as a story. Obviously, it couldn't take place in the older story, the timeline there, because NAOW still has some stuff to do.
Yep.
But it's nice seeing him playing his con man games against the major characters of the DC universe.
Yeah.
And just kind of doing his thing, being Constantine, being a D-bag.
Yep.
So, I liked it quite a bit. But that's it. We did it with time to spare. We actually took 1 hour exactly to cover those 18 issues.
Man.
I'm impressed with us.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with me. I'm impressed with you. I'm impressed with our listeners for lasting all these years. That being said, guys, you still have to go out there and buy these books. You don't have to buy the actual books. You can buy the digital holo book. You can buy the... do you remember back when we started this and it was actually just plain covers?
Yeah.
It didn't like talk to you and stuff? I mean, you can buy whichever version you want.
Yeah.
I don't really care, but you have to go out and buy them so that they make them. Because if you don't buy them, they don't make them.
I just plugged the comics port back into my brain.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have my wireless comics connection straight into DC headquarters and Marvel headquarters. And Marvel just gives me a lot of commercials a lot, too. DC does as well. They're getting pretty bad. That's why I knew about that Bwana Beast Too Cute show. Every single time I try to remember something, I get a 10-second advert before my memory plays. It's very annoying.
Stop combining that Puggle and that baby short-eared rabbit.
Bad Bwana.
He just shows up in the corner of the panel. It's like, look at me. I'm combining two animals. It's too cute.
Man, this memory has subtitles. You're in the way, Bwana Beast.
I know.
So anyway, make sure you do buy them. You need to support them because the hobby does need all the help it can get. Anything you purchase is good for the hobby. So next week, as a reminder to you guys, we are going to take one more week off. We took last week off as well. We are going to take next week off as well. It's Beth's birthday. So I'm hosting a party here and I have not enough time to get much done. And I figured since we were doing this, we'll just do a bi-weekly thing for September. I did forewarn you guys, so all you have to do is make it through that. Once we come back in October, we will be back on track with the weekly show as we start season 2 of DCR. I know it's weird. Season 2? What is this? I have no idea. I actually don't have any idea, but, so for next week, Brian, we have books coming out next week. We continue the Future's End March. Do you want to know what's coming out next week?
Hit me with it.
Okay. Next week, there is Justice League Future's End #1, continuing your storyline. Hopefully more Canadian villains show up.
I hope so.
I can only hope. Teen Titans Future's End #1. The Heretic appears to be Robin.
Yeah.
Huh? Wonder Woman Future's End #1. She has fully donned the garb of the God of War. Trinity of Sin Pandora Future's End #1. So many colons. Is eaten by her own Pandora's box. And then Superman Wonder Woman Future's End #1. Looks like the honeymoon's over between God of War, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a squabble.
Because he grew that beard.
Cyborg Supergirl and Supergirl Future's End #1. Like father, like daughter, maybe.
Yep.
Who knows? Batman Superman Future's End #1, recreating that Action Comics cover, except it's Superman putting a car into Batman's head. Batman and Robin being Batman and Heretic again. Heretic, no. I don't want creepy baby head Robin again. No. Vampire Batwoman in Future's End #1. Batwoman Future's End #1. Red Hood and the Outlaws. Everyone's attacking each other in Future's End #1. Green Lantern, New Guardians, Future's End #1. Another colon monstrosity. Kyle Rayner explodes on the cover, so I'm sure it all works out fine for him. We also get New 52 Future's End #20, Batman Eternal #24, and a little book called The Multiversity, The Society of Superheroes, Conquerors of something or other. Let me bring it up. Conquerors of the Counterworld is also coming out. So,
with Celeb Magazine on the front.
Since we are taking that week off, we will go to the following week's books as well that we will be covering at the end of the month. Booster Gold, Future's End #1.
Victory!
He has apparently been tossed into the land of Kamandi.
It looks like it.
Because there's a bunch of animal people around. I could be wrong.
That looks like what it is.
Surprise of all surprises, G.I. Zombie gets his own Future's End title.
So excited.
I am too, honestly. Zatanna goes all Eclipso, it looks like, in Justice League Dark Future's End #1. The Flash, I don't know what's going on exactly. I'm assuming we're going to get that whole storyline with Wally West and what happened to him, and why the future Flash is coming back. That seems to be the convergent point for all these storylines. So kudos again for Flash if they manage to pull off a sincere tie-in that really has nothing to do with Future's End, but keeps moving their book forward while meeting the goals. Because they're the ones that have really kind of done that the entire run through each one of these months.
Yeah.
It's very surprising. Aquaman and the others, we get to see what happens with the Ice King versus the Sea King. Superman! It's Billy Batson.
Yeah.
Shazam. Catwoman is doing... Catwoman seems to be doing the Michael Jackson Thriller dance with her cover, because it's just her on one side going like this and then her on the other side when you go the other way. So I don't know if she's doing Thriller or what here, but that's what she's doing. Sinestro's ring lets out a fart in Sinestro Future's End #1. Harley Quinn gets married and then has a divorce, I think. Red Lanterns. Guy Gardner joins the Superior Corps by going blue. Yeah. All hail the blue.
The only blue I want to see the Red Lanterns do is start swearing in their jokes.
That was actually pretty good. Superman Doomed #2 as we get ready to wrap up the Doom storyline. Remember that?
Yeah.
New 52 Future's End 21, of course. Batman Eternal 25, of course. And I believe that is it. So we'll be covering both weeks of those books at the end of the month. Probably similar manner in the way we did it now. We'll pick out a couple, get them done, and go from there. So, guys, if you do want to contact us, let us know how this one worked. I know it's not the optimum situation, but it does allow us to take the weeks off we need while still meeting our goals. You can reach us at
Internet.
the internet. Basically DCR Podcast. Anywhere. You can email us at feedback@DCRpodcast or find links and all that crap at DCRpodcast.com. So you guys know how it works. Not going to go through it again. If you do come in through the Undernet, though, it's a little weird. You have to use a hashtag and a lot of colons. So many colons because Brian put together our screen name in the Undernet and he just went colon crazy. Super colon blow.
You also have to use forward slashes.
I know. Stupid reverso Undernet. So Brian, do you have anything?
Bizarro hates the Undernet.
Do you have anything before we take off?
No, not really.
Yeah, I know. This was a lot of notes. For as much as it seemed like we were kind of half-assing it this week, the amount of notes we had to do to kind of streamline a lot of this stuff, very difficult, honestly. So, cut us some slack, please. And, of course, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, enjoy the
I've
next 5
apparently got to go
years.
pick up Kelly from the ICU because of that bear attack.
Yes, again, apologies. My bad. And we will talk to you all next week.